Early developmental stages shows up on the biological and biochemical foundation section of the MCAT. From fertilization to organogenesis, the exam doesn't just test whether you know the terms. It tests if you can follow the sequence and connect each stage to what comes next. This is one of those topics where having the big picture makes the details much easier. So let's break down the developmental timeline from zygote to fetus in a way that sticks. Fertilization. It all starts with fertilization, the fusion of a haploid sperm and a haploid egg to form a diploid zygote. This usually happens in the fallopian tube after sperm make the journey through the female reproductive tract. The key outcome? One cell with the full genetic blueprint. Cleavage. Immediately after, the zygote doesn't grow. Instead, it divides. These rapid mitotic divisions are called cleavage. Each new cell is a blastomere, and the point here is to multiply cell number without increasing overall size, preparing for later specialization. Morula. After several rounds, you get a solid ball of cells called the morula. Think of it as the first cluster stage before hollowing out into something more complex. Blastocyst formation. The morula then undergoes compaction and forms a hollow structure called the blastocyst. Inside, a fluid-filled cavity called the blastocoel develops. The inner cell mass will eventually form the embryo, while the outer trophoblast becomes the structures that support it, including the placenta. Implantation. The blastocyst then embeds into the uterine lining. This is implantation, and it's essential for establishing nutrient and waste exchange between mother and embryo. Without successful implantation, development stops. Gastrulation. Once implanted, the embryo undergoes gastrulation, one of the most important steps. Here, the three germ layers form: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. These layers set the blueprint for everything: skin and nervous system from ectoderm, muscles and bones from mesoderm, digestive and respiratory linings from endoderm. Neurulation. From the ectoderm, neurulation begins. The neural plate folds into a neural tube, which becomes the brain and spinal cord. This is the foundation of the central nervous system. Organogenesis. Now the real construction begins. Organogenesis. Organs and systems emerge from the germ layers. The heart starts beating early, limbs appear, and specialized tissues start forming. At this point, the embryo is shifting toward fetal development. Fetal development. After organogenesis, we call it a fetus. The focus here is growth, refinement, and complexity. Existing organs mature and body proportions shift toward the human form we recognize. Placenta and umbilical cord. Supporting all of this is the placenta and umbilical cord. The placenta is the interface between mother and fetus, exchanging nutrients, gases, and waste. The umbilical cord links the fetus directly to that supply line, carrying oxygenated blood and nutrients in and removing waste products. Teratogens. And finally, a critical MCAT tie-in, teratogens. These are substances like alcohol, certain drugs, or infections that can cause birth defects if exposure happens during sensitive developmental windows. The MCAT often uses teratogen questions to test your understanding of how vulnerable early development really is. So here's the takeaway. Development follows a logical sequence: fertilization, cleavage, morula, blastocyst, implantation, gastrulation, neurulation, organogenesis, then fetal growth. If you can keep the order straight and link each stage to its function, you'll be ready for whatever developmental biology the MCAT throws your way. With that said, here are just a few of our student success stories. Students who mastered these concepts, boosted their scores, and got into medical school. If you're studying for the MCAT, click the link below to get started with your own prep. We help students reach a 515 plus on the MCAT, and we'd love to do the same for you. And don't forget, subscribe to our channel for more MCAT breakdowns like this, and follow us on Instagram for extra tips and resources.